Yeah, we did a little thing on, I think it was Thursday. We had a little media day, and one of the clips was like she was giving me slang, English slang, and I had to try to figure out if I knew what it meant. And a couple of them I got, but for the most part, I had no clue what the words were. Like bug roll is toilet paper, and I had no idea what that was. Knackered, no idea what that meant. And then
Yeah.
we went out to dinner Friday, and she tried to get me to use the word kushti, which means like comfortable
Okay.
and in an interview. And then Friday we had like an on-course interview, and I used Kushti, and I think she got a kick out of that.
Welcome back to the Maybe Yes Sir podcast. Today we welcome back now PGA Tour winner Michael Brennan, who won the Bank of Utah Championship at the end of October. This past weekend, Michael teamed up with Charley Hull at the Grant Thornton Invitational, finishing tied for second. Michael, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Good to be on.
Later, we'll discuss your win at the Bank of Utah Championship and some key moments from that tournament. We'll also look ahead to the 2026 PGA Tour season and an upcoming Masters invite for Michael. But if you're listening for the first time, Michael, this is your third time on the podcast. At the end of June, you were ranked 680th in the world. The second time you came on at the beginning of October, you were ranked 106th. And now ranked 35th in the world. So I think if we space this out properly, I know the next time you come on might be middle of April or end of April after a certain tournament in Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's a pretty good trajectory.
Yeah, I've been playing some good golf lately, and yeah, it's been fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Grant Thornton. Like I said, you partnered with Charley Hull. What impressed you most about her game, and how was the week?
Yeah, she was a stud, total stud. So I wasn't originally supposed to be playing. I was an alternate for the tournament, and Daniel Berger pulled out on Monday night last week. And I was in Palm Beach, I had an outing, like doing a thing, and I didn't find out until like that evening. My agent was
Okay.
actually, he was out there with me, and he pulled me aside as we were finishing up. It was like 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And he was like, "Hey, Berger just dropped out. Like, do you want to play?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, who's my partner?" And he was like, "Charley Hull." And I was like, "Well, heck yeah, I'm in." And so that was a pretty easy yes. And then she had to approve like of me being her partner,
Right.
her and her agent. She could have said like no and would have gone to someone else. But thankfully she said that she was okay with it, and we didn't know each other at all. And so I drove over on Tuesday. We kind of had a little event Tuesday night at the tournament, and that's where I met her for the first time. Just kind of a pretty brief interaction. And then Wednesday, Thursday, pro-ams didn't play with each other, kind of talked, here and there. But Friday, when we teed it up for the scramble in the tournament, that was our first time like really talking to each other for a longer period of time, and first time playing with each other and seeing each other's games. Hmm.
Like, what part of her game impressed you the most, if you were to look back at it?
Yeah, I mean, she's really impressive. There's a lot that was really impressive. She putted amazing. And I think if you watched any of the coverage, you would see
Mm-hmm.
she made a lot of putts, which as her partner was great. In the scramble event, she putted first, or format on Saturday or on Friday, she putted first, and I hit like very few putts on Friday the whole day. I mean, I went several times, like 4 holes, 5 holes. I don't know exactly what it was, but that's what it felt like without hitting a putt, because maybe we hit decent shots in there, and then she canned a 5 to 15 footer on almost every single hole. It was really, really impressive. She's a very aggressive player, which is really fun to see. Like very fearless on the golf course, kind of took any shot on no matter what. And so that was really fun to watch. And I mean, trying to curve shots into holes, like cuts, draws into different hole locations, hit the irons really solid, super consistent with the driver. I mean, just a very solid, impressive play. Because I don't see the girls play all too often. I saw it in college a little bit, but She's the fifth ranked woman in the world. I've never played with someone who is that highly ranked or, or
Hmm.
that good really. And
Yeah.
she blew me away. It was very impressive.
Her shot on 18, and that scared the flag too. I don't know if you saw the replay of that,
Yeah.
but that came close to going in, which would have, you know, had a chance to put you guys in a playoff. Obviously, Lauren Coughlin went ahead and rolled in what looked like a 25 footer to get to 28 under, but yeah, her approach shot scared the hole.
Yeah. Walking down 18 fairway, I was like, it'd be pretty cool if we made one of these. And I mean, she got really, really dang close, which was pretty fun. Yeah.
Sure. Any words from her on course vocabulary that maybe you're going to adopt this coming year on the golf course?
Yeah, we did a little thing on I think it was Thursday. We had a little media day, and one of the clips was like she was giving me slang, English slang, and I had to try to figure out if I knew what it meant. And a couple of them I got, but for the most part, I had no clue what the words were. Like bug roll is toilet paper, and I had no idea what that was. Knackered, no idea what that meant. And then
Yeah.
we went out to dinner Friday, and she tried to get me to use the word kushti, which means like comfortable
Okay.
and in an interview. And then Friday we had like an on-course interview, and I used kushti, and I think she got a kick out of that. But yeah, definitely learned a little bit of some English slang. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Alternate shot was the format on Saturday. That's a little different, right?
Tough.
I'm sure you haven't played a lot of alternate shot competitively.
Played a couple rounds just in like Palmer Cup or something like that, maybe
Okay.
some junior team events, but played zero scramble competitive rounds like Friday. But then going from Friday playing great and shooting 55, where everything just felt like it was flowing. Charley was making putts. That was like a fun, easy. It was a very cushy round. And then Saturday, you're playing alt shot, and it's a grind. It's brutal. It's hard to find a rhythm. And it was a very different, feeling. I thought out on the golf course, just not so much
Hmm.
like we're both like really comfortable out there. It was fun getting to like know her and her caddy, just walking the fairways with them. But um, it's definitely a little more stressful, a bit more of a grind. Alt shot is than scramble.
For sure, and hard to get into a rhythm. There's a local tournament here that I played in for years that was alternate shot, and I always found it hard to get into a rhythm. And like you said, it's almost, you feel a little more pressure because you got your partner waiting to see what you're going to do, right? It's just a little
Yeah,
bit
I mean,
added.
yeah, like you'll go a couple holes without hitting an iron shot or without hitting a lag putt or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into that situation, and it's like it's tough.
For sure. Not sure if you knew this or not, but there's actually a mixed event being added to the Olympics in 2028 at Riviera for the first time. So
I heard that
yeah.
the other day, and that's super cool. I really like that idea. I mean, I had a ton of
Hmm.
fun this past week at the Grant
Yeah.
Thornton. I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard making the Olympics, but unfortunately, Charlie and I couldn't be partners, even if
No.
we were both playing good golf. But
Yeah.
I do think that is a nice addition to the golf.
Yeah, so do I. And it's going to be 36 holes, so 18 holes of alternate shot and then 18 holes of four balls. And then it'll be like sandwiched in between the men's 72 hole regular stroke play and the women's 72 hole stroke play. So
I think
a
that's
lot of
cool.
golf. Yeah, me too. Yeah, a lot of golf obviously though, and to be played at the Olympics in
But
2028.
it's at Riviera, so you can never get too much of that golf course.
Yeah, is that one of your favorite spots? You played there at the
Yeah,
Genesis, hey?
I did. Yeah, I've gotten to play Augusta with some of the donors of our weight program, and those are, I would say, probably my two favorite golf courses that I've ever played.
I've walked Riviera back in '99. It's a special place for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible, like perfect. Yeah,
Hmm. We'll get to the signature events later, and I'm sure that's high on your priority list is getting into those. But we'll talk about the signature events in a little bit. Um, just getting back to Charley Hull, I think one of the cool quotes that I remember her saying. This was at the 2023 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, and she was talking to her caddy about strategy on an approach shot into 18, and they're going to choose an aggressive line. And she said, "Shy kids don't get sweets," meaning if you want the reward, you have to go for it, basically, right? And I think that holds true for some of your play at the Bank of Utah as well. And if you'll indulge me, I just got some key moments at the Bank of
Yeah.
Utah that I'd like to get through, because I think you did stay aggressive from what I've seen, but I'll let you speak to that a little bit. So starting on Saturday, you go into Saturday with a 2-shot lead at 10 under par, I
Um,
believe.
I was tied with David Ford at 10 under on Saturday. I finished Saturday with a two-shot lead.
Right. Yeah. So Saturday, I believe there was an early double, but the hole that I want to talk about is the eagle on 7. You rip a drive down there like 369 or 368 or something, and
Hmm.
hit what looks like a mid iron, and it kind of funnels right next to the pin, maybe 4 feet away. How big was that? How big was that eagle just to settle things down?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, definitely nervous. First tour event, final group on the weekend, and that's a different experience. But
Hmm.
the second hole, that was my second double of the week. Unfortunately, I don't know, it had my number for some reason.
Yeah.
Made kind of a good bounce back birdie earlier, I think on 4, but that eagle on 7 was like really kind of would get me like kind of going forward again. Obviously, I think it moved me to 1 under at the time. So
Hmm.
I was in the red for the round, but just momentum wise, it was huge. I knew I was playing well, and the double I made on 2 was kind of a little silly, a little sloppy around the greens, but I hit 7 iron in on my second shot there and got a little fortunate, that the ball kind of funneled so close to the hole, but that was where Jeff and I were playing it, and I hit a quality shot, so it was nice to be rewarded.
Let's talk about the 12th hole Saturday, and we'll talk about the 12th hole on Sunday as well. But on Saturday, again, rip a drive down the middle. You're left with maybe 60 yards to a back hole location, and you
Hmm.
hit this like perfect, nippy little wedge. It takes a peek at the hole and, ends up a foot away. And at that time, I got a text that came in from a well-respected club pro here locally, and he's just like, "Wow." And basically, we were kind of going back and forth in text, and he's like, "If he's driving it like this, and he's got his like wedge game on, like this thing's over." Like, what did it feel like for you at that time, having all facets of your game running at what looked like 100%?
Yeah, I felt good out there. I mean, I hope that's not 100%. I still feel like I have a lot to get better at, in the game.
Hmm.
I'm pretty confident that that isn't going to be 100%. I don't think anyone's ever playing at 100%. Even maybe Tiger at the 2000 US Open, I was, as close as anyone will get. But yeah, I hit some good shots that week. Definitely, that one on 12 was one that I liked. I mean, it was a kind of a pretty good number for me. I was comfortable in our carry distance. And Jeff and I, we noodled the bounce and the release pretty well. I hit it solid, and so it was great, to see that the ball finished close. I didn't have to no worrying about hitting a 5 foot or anything like that. It's nice when you can just go up and tap them in.
For sure, yeah. It played great all the way on the back nine on Saturday. You got to 17, looked like you had a decent tee shot, but just kind of ran through the green into a collection area, leaving you a pretty difficult chip. Like 2 groups before that, Thorbjorn Olesen came through there, and at the time he was only 1 behind you, and he ended up in a really similar spot, and he made double. He hit 2 shots, just 2 chips, a little bit fat, and they both came running back down to his feet. Just talk about how difficult that chip shot was and how important it was just to keep the momentum going heading to 18.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with how I hit that tee ball. I'm pretty sure it was kind of like a 3/4 pitching wedge. I pulled it a couple feet, and I think that that's what kind of gave it a little too much distance, and it was a hair further left than I was aiming because the left side of that green was played a little shorter than the back
Uh,
right was kind of, it was a little longer behind the flag. So it was just a hair left of where I was aiming. But I hit it solid, hit a pretty good shot, and I knew it was tough down there on the tee. I was a little upset. Not with Jeff, but I was just upset about my shot, and I was saying I have a tendency to probably think it's going to be worse than it actually is. And I was like, dang, like that's going to be a brutal shot. And what helped, I think, with that chip was Jackson Suber, my playing partner, was in a very similar spot, but he was like a foot further behind me. And he hit a really, really
Hmm.
nice shot and like two hopped it through the fringe. And so I could kind of see like how he played it and how that worked and the outcome. So I mean, as soon as he hit it, like Jackson and I are buddies, and so Jeff was just like, dude, just copy Jackson. And I did a pretty good job just trying to hit the exact same shot that he did.
Yeah, nice grouping for you on Saturday as well, right? With David Ford and
Yeah,
Jackson, like
very
you said.
comfortable. First time playing with Jackson was on Saturday, but I have a lot of mutual friends with him, and David I've known since I was probably 15 years old. So
Yeah,
it was a very very comfortable group, and that probably helped a lot, just kind of keep me relaxed and really had fun out there.
sure. Yeah. So you head to Saturday night. You're going to be sleeping on a two-shot lead going into Sunday. Take me inside the Airbnb or the hotel room with your team, Jeff. Your parents are there that night. There's a hockey superstition or like a code that if a goalie has a shutout going, like late in the game or in the third period, you don't talk about the shutout. You don't mention the shutout. You don't say the word shutout. You avoid the goalie basically at all costs. What was the mood like with your team Saturday night? Not in
Yeah, I stayed in
retrospect.
Airbnb. It was my parents and caddy. We were all staying together.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe there was definitely a little bit like try to be as status quo as possible. But
Hmm.
at the same time, like I do think that we were still talking about like just how cool the position we are is, like the position we were in at the time, like how cool that was and how fortunate we are to be there. And we did, like it's nearly impossible not to think about it, and like
Yeah.
just ignoring it, like that's not gonna do anything, So maybe disagree with the caddy, the hockey,
Right.
don't talk to the goalie about it. Like I definitely think you can overwork it in your head, but
Hmm.
it can also be the other way where if you don't talk about it, then it's like the elephant in the room that
For
nobody's,
sure.
speaking on it, and it's even more uncomfortable. So I feel like there was, appropriate talk just about like how much fun Sunday's round was going to be and the amazing opportunity that I had ahead.
How were you feeling Sunday morning?
Nervous. That was the most nervous I was all day, was Sunday morning. Eating breakfast. Yeah. My mom made some breakfast, some eggs like she had done all week. And I was just like so amped up and so jittery that I kind of couldn't like sit still. I just wanted the round to start so bad. We teed off at like 1 or 2 o'clock, late in the
Right.
afternoon. And um, I just wanted to like eat and then immediately go to the golf course. But it was probably good that I didn't. I was able to go to the gym and kind of work out, and I felt like that kind of helped settle me a lot.
Hmm.
But I was the most nervous eating breakfast on Sunday morning.
I can imagine. It didn't show though. You got off to an incredible start. You were five under through nine on Sunday. Is
Mhm,
that right?
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Bit of a stumble on 10. And I want to ask you about the fairway bunker shot on 10. Did the drone swoop down and distract you at all on the second shot?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the drone. They're kind of
Yeah.
noisy, and
Right.
if they're hovering totally still, then you can't really hear it. But like when they move, that's when it gets the loudest. And it was probably just my poor, maybe a little lack of focus or something, and the drone is what I, maybe blamed for the distraction. But you definitely can hear it when you're out there playing. It's not silent.
Yeah. And I don't imagine that you've had much experience with a drone buzzing around you, right?
Yeah,
That's probably
not
something new.
yeah, they don't have those. Not on the America's tour, they're not flying the drones. I mean, I'm sure the drones are way cheaper than the Goodyear blimp, but
Right. Yeah.
the blimp you can't hear that one.
Yeah. So that leads us back to the 12th hole again. And I could talk about this hole for a while, but maybe the most consequential tee shot or at this point in your career, Rico's starting to apply some pressure and you just step up and again, rip one, like 192 ball speed, drive goes 420 yards, ends up like just front left in front of a tucked left pin, perfect spot. But can you walk us through the decision to hit driver on 12, and you could paint a better picture of what that hole looks like and the trouble down the right side and just what the thought process was in pulling driver there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been playing like well. I was 5 under through nine. I made a bogey on pan. That was a little disappointing. Rico made a really nice birdie.
Hmm.
11, I'm pretty sure we both parred, and then 12, I had a three-shot lead at the time. And he kind of wasn't going away. I was 4 under.
Yeah.
I had a two-shot lead. I was 4 under through 10, and my lead was only three. Like I feel like you could be in that position and maybe expect a slightly bigger lead sometimes, maybe sometimes not. But he was playing well, and I knew he wasn't going to go away. So Jeff and I just try to stay like two game plan. We laid up on Thursday on 12 because the pin was tucked left behind some bunkers, but this pin was more kind of front middle, front leftish, and it
Okay.
wasn't quite over top of some front left bunkers. And the course was just getting firmer as the week went on, and I was obviously a little juiced in that moment. I knew I was going to be jacked up, and so we were kind of basing it off how far I had in on Saturday to the back left flag, it was probably 25 yards on the green, and the front pin was 15 yards shorter. I only had about 60 yards to that back pin, a little firmer, a little juiced. We figured I could probably get to within like 30 yards. And I thought that even if I was like a little short sighted from 30 yards, I could land something short, hit something high. Like I kind of had options to where I felt like it would have been a pretty comfortable second shot. And
Yeah.
I told Jeff, I was like, Jeff, like I'm gonna let this go. He in his great wisdom was like let's go,
Nice.
rip it. He wasn't like
Nice.
hold on and hit the fairway. He was like nuke this.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave me confidence just to let it go and hit a good drive. And it got further down there than I really thought it was going to.
Right. And then Rico pours in like a 20-footer
Yeah.
downhill on
Yeah.
top of you, right? To keep the pressure on and keep
Yeah.
your
I mean,
lead
I had like
to
three for
three.
for birdie, from right underneath the hole. So I'm sure he figured that I was probably going to make that. And to keep it within three, it was a huge putt that he made on 12.
Big time. Yeah. I believe you both shared pars on 13 and
Yeah.
14. Fun little par four, drivable. I
Yeah.
believe you had
Yeah.
you had 3 wood and maybe you birdied that every day, but it kind of appeared the birdie on 14 with Rico making par kind of all but sealed things for you at that time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong, especially when there's a lot of lava on the golf course. One bad shot can off the tee, that's a two-shot penalty, really. And so,
Yeah.
um, tournament definitely wasn't over after 14, but I did birdie it all 4 days. It was kind of a perfect cutty three wood for me, which is a pretty comfortable shot shape, and put it to the back edge, just being it was so firm. To a front pin, I had a really nice two putt, so that was nice to get away with a birdie there. Got a little lucky on the next hole on 15, par three, tough hole, downwind. Like I was saying, the green's very firm, and I pushed an 8 iron, I believe, and it landed just short of a back right bunker to kind of a back middle pin, and it did not bounce out. And I don't know if
Hmm.
that was some gift of God, but that ball should have ended up in the back bunker like literally 10 out of 10 times, but it somehow found a really soft spot. And again, I made a nice two putt on 15, and that was a pretty big deal, making
Sure.
par on 15.
Yeah, because I don't believe Rico didn't get up and down there, I don't think, or maybe he did. Just going back to the 3 wood, did I read that you put in a new 3 wood that week? The new Titleist 3 wood?
I did put it in on Monday.
Okay.
Just wasn't loving the spin numbers on my current three wood, and so texted the Titleist guys. And Monday morning, as soon as I got out to the range, they were there and ready and had a few options, and we dialed up a GT1, turned down a little and lost. So I think it was like 1375 loft. So it's pretty strong, for a three wood, and just kind of in the altitude, you still needed some spin to keep it up in the air. It just came out a nice window, and I relied on it pretty heavily that week. I hit three woods off of 1, 10, 13, 14, every day. Off those holes, I hit it every day, and then hit three wood on 18 on Sunday. So yeah, it was a late addition to the bag and something that I kind of relied on, and it came up really clutch for me.
Yeah, obviously performed really well for you. Yeah, so you're walking down 18 with a 5-shot lead, and maybe your only hiccup, you just kind of pulled that again, an iron and went a little
Yeah.
long. Probably
Yeah.
not the way you wanted to end it, but at that point it
No.
was pretty much academic and you could enjoy the walk up 18 with Jeff and your family.
Yeah. Hitting the fairway on 18 was big.
Mm-hmm.
That was important. Yeah, I played such a solid round of golf on Sunday that it was a 4 and I hit in. I mean, it's amazing, but it just kind of leaves a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth. Like you never want to finish with bogey.
Yeah.
But I was proud of we played a good shot to take a drop and I hit a good fourth shot, I guess, to just keep it on the green and get cozy with a little lag.
The funny part was I'm watching with my wife and daughter who you met at Breezy Bend, and my wife's like, "Why is he going down there to grab the ball? Like he could slip and hurt himself. Like what's he
Yeah,
doing?"
Jeff, my caddy, he got a lot of hate from like family and friends for not going and getting that ball, and I think he probably learned a lesson. I'm sure if we're in that instance next time, uh,
Right.
I bet you he will be grabbing that golf ball. Yeah,
Because all you
yeah,
have to do is identify it, right? Like he could grab it for you to identify it.
I just wanted to make sure it was my ball, and he could have done that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a funny part for sure. Um, how was the celebration Sunday night? Your parents were there. Your agent was there. What do you guys do Sunday night after the win?
Yeah, so we were trying to get a reservation at the steakhouse on site on property, but they were closed on Sunday. I mean, most of the restaurants in Utah are going to be closed on Sunday. And one of the local like steakhouses, this guy, Chef Eric, he's like a two-time Michelin star chef from Scottsdale, had just a little retirement restaurant, like really small, cute place. And he opened it up just for the five of us, myself, Jeff, my parents, and Terry, my manager. And
Wow,
so we had just an awesome dinner, amazing food, drank good wine, and
nice.
just kind of hung out and had a good time.
Well, that's awesome. Sounds like a great night.
Yeah, it was perfect. We thought for a second about trying to get down to Vegas because it's like 2 hours from
Yeah,
Black Desert, but I wanted to kind of stay local and enjoy it a little bit. I'm glad I did.
definitely.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You got really busy after the win, right? You're off to Mexico the next week, and Bermuda. At what point did the win actually like sink in, and you're able to appreciate what you accomplished and how this is going to change your career and life, basically?
Yeah. I don't know exactly, like I don't feel like there was one point where it was like dang, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't think it was in Utah that it really sank in. I'm thinking it was
Yeah.
sometime either Cabo or Bermuda, the next events when I was like, playing in another PGA Tour event that I earned a spot into because of the win. And I was like, dang, like, I get to do this now. Like, this is super cool. And I think
Mm-hmm.
probably sometime like that is when it, maybe hit me a little bit harder.
Yeah, for sure. So that leads us to 2026 PGA Tour season. By finishing 35th in the official World Golf Rankings, you get a Masters invite for 2026, which is pretty sweet. You said you've played the course a few times. How pumped are you for April in Augusta?
Yeah. Yeah. I only played it once
Okay,
in the spring of 24, my senior year of college. And
nice.
it was awesome. I mean, it was a surreal day. Caddy Jeff took me to watch the Masters this year, 2025, on Thursday. So I was there, boots on ground, not playing. I was following one of my friends, Evan Beck, won the U.S. Mid Am last year, and he played in the Masters in the U.S. Open this year, and so I was able to follow his round on Thursday, which is really cool to see him out there. And like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying earlier, at the time I was, probably 600 in the world and nowhere near getting into the Masters. And so I was kind of just there thinking, like, one day I would love to be here and play. And if you told me when I was there on Thursday that I would be getting in next year, I would have had a really, really hard time believing you. But the Masters, my favorite tournament in the world. I bet it's most golfers' favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super pumped. I cannot wait.
Right? Like, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, you also get into the PGA Championship at Aronimink, another
Mhm.
great golf course. So a good lineup for the majors this year. With the signature events being so heavily weighted in FedEx Cup points, so you're going to play four regular tour events, I would imagine, starting at Sony in Hawaii, leading up to the first signature event.
Hmm.
Maybe just talk about the importance of those signature events, and if for whatever reason you don't get in that Aon Swing 5, there is a sponsor invite category, which I'm sure everybody's lining up for. I mean, how important are the signature events, do you think, right now?
Yeah, I'm honestly not 100% sure. I haven't done it. I haven't really seen it. I know, like, I've
Mm-hmm.
heard, how important they are. And it would be awesome to play them. It's bigger purses, better fields, smaller, but some really strong, notable players are always going to play in those. Riviera's, like I was saying, one of my favorite courses, if not my favorite course I've ever played. So that would be really cool to play, in that tournament again. Also, the first professional tournament I've ever played in, was the Genesis back in 2022. And so I would love to get into those events and just going to try to play some good golf and kind of hope that, it shuffles out and I do get in. But if not, then it'll be a good 2 weeks to regroup and get ready for the Cognizant after Riv.
Yeah, for sure. How far ahead do you have to set your schedule? Are you setting that like 3 months in advance where you kind of know all the events that you're going to be playing in? Obviously, the
Yeah,
signature events will change that.
there could be a little flux, based on the signature events and what I get into and don't get into.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like we've got it planned out kind of up until the Masters right now, with my team, and what that could look like, what that um, might look like, and it's not all set in stone. It's going to be in flux, um, but for the most part, we kind of have a roadmap until Augusta.
Nice. Last year on PGA Tour Americas, well, the camaraderie seemed really high. I had Derek Hitchner on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he was talking about the camaraderie on that tour. Getting to the PGA Tour, obviously, there's going to be guys like Johnny Kiefer, who you're buddies with, who will be out there this year. But at the same time, it is a business, right? It's more people have their entourage and maybe stick to themselves a little bit. Is that something that you're kind of preparing for next year on how to adjust to the PGA Tour schedule?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm very grateful that I've been able to play, and I mean, the Grant Thornton is like my fourth event, after Utah, so I kind of feel like I get a good taste for what the tour may be like.
Hmm.
And next year, and all the guys for the most part have been really great. I do think it's probably a little more business like. These are the best players in the world, and we're playing for, you know legacy, and like Scotty's one of the all-time greats now. I think I can say, like, he's had
Yeah.
an incredible last 5 years. When he just win his fourth consecutive Player of the Year, like that's
Hmm.
incredible, and so he's not that we didn't take it seriously on the Americas tour. Obviously, we did, but it's just a little different. People are going to be older, have families that they're traveling with, and so I do expect it to be a little less social than the Americas tour was. But I mean, from my experience thus far, it's still been very friendly.
Yeah. Australian Open just finished up 2 weeks ago at world renowned Royal Melbourne. Next year it's at Kingston Heath. Do world events like that appeal to you?
Yeah, it would be super cool to go play. I would love to go travel and play some tournaments in Europe and across the world, like, just because I want to see, what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. I'm still new to this. I don't really know how those are going to fit into the schedule, and
Hmm.
what's, I don't know, good about playing them versus not playing them. Like, that's something I don't really know. So just kind of gonna take it step by step and figure it out when that time comes.
What are Michael's goals for 2026, if you don't mind me asking, and what motivates you for the upcoming
Yeah,
year?
I do like to set goals. I haven't set goals yet for next year, so I really, I don't know when the Masters. It's been my goal since I was 5 years old. Like, that's the one tournament that I've really, like, really truly wanted to play in and win. And when I'm hitting putts, it's always, to win the Masters when I was a kid and stuff like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's cool that I have a shot to do that now.
Hmm.
But beyond that, I haven't really made up my mind yet.
That's all I had for you tonight, Michael. Like I said off the top, really appreciate your time. I know you're busy and you finally got a little bit of a time off here, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Brian. Always fun.
Okay, thanks, Michael.